This is after doing enough coaching and sitting down and, not to take away the reality of the fear. Fear is something we're all going to go into in this new transition, going into a new life, becoming a civilian again. You can't go into it without fear, and understanding that fear is a great friend. It's been there for you. It's kept you safe. A life without fear is not reality. But you have to be willing to kill the myth, and you have to be willing to go out there and ask professionals and ask your soft brothers how they transitioned. So today, Daniel Fielding, this is your episode, brother. I'm going to pick your brain so that our brothers and sisters can benefit from your transition journey. So thank you for being here today, man.
Hey, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Denny. I love your topic. Excuse me. I love what you got going on. I love what we're focusing on today on this podcast. I'm already excited about it just in the pre-talking that we did.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a very powerful thing. And I think it's something that needs to be shared with every other brother, because transition and change in life is hard. Unknown, facing things is hard. But you know what? We're Green Berets, we're soft guys, or operators, or just even for regular military vets. You've had the courage to face unknown before in life. You can do it again. And it's just another chapter. So let's get to it.
Absolutely, man. So let's take it back. Tell me about your story. Tell me about your journey.
My journey. So I'll go in with the transition from civilian to special forces. I'll start there. So, I'm college graduate. I got my real estate license. My father's a, unrestricted builder up in South Boston area, Massachusetts. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in the family business. We're going to do real estate. We're going to build houses. I'm going to sell them. And then 9/11 happened. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is priority check, reality check in the world, like what's important. And I was watching stuff on TV and just seeing guys deploy and leave their families and whatnot. And I'm like, man, I want to support the troops, but the best way to support the troops is to be there with them by their side. And at that point, I wasn't married. I didn't have any kids. So I was like, I should be going before they should be going.
Yeah.
And so I walked in the recruiter's office after doing some research. I spent about, I would say 4 to 6 months of doing research.
Oh, shit.
Reading books, like, where do I want to go? What branch do I want to, serve in? What would be the most effective way? Like anything, you should do your research, And I bought all kinds of books, was reading them, and I was like, you know what? I want to be a Green Beret. Those guys do some really unconventional stuff. They work with the local populace or indigenous people. And I'm like, that's where I want to be. And I don't want to be a SEAL stuck on a boat somewhere, because I was always like, if shit hits the fan, I can live in the woods. I can hunt animals. I can find water. I was a Boy Scout. Like, at least I have a chance. Out in the middle of the ocean, I'm just food floating around. So that was part of my decision-making process as well.
Yeah.
But so I walked in and I was like, hey, I want to be an 18 Charlie, which for anyone in the audience that doesn't know what that is, that's a special forces engineer. My recruiter, who was from Ranger Bat, which was a very good blessing. So he knew something about the suck and, where I was trying to walk into. And at that point, I'm 27 years old, and he's like, well, I don't know if you can just come off the street and do this, And I'm like, well, this is what I want to do. You ever been arrested? You got to take these tests. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do this. I'll do that. And no, I've never been arrested. I don't have a record. Doesn't mean I never did anything when I was younger, but I was a good SF guy. I didn't get caught.
Exactly.
But so fast forward, I'm into MEPS. The guy at MEPS is like, oh, you're not going to make it through selection. I didn't make it. It's way too hard. And I trained for months. And, I was doing construction. I was running, 4 or 5 miles with 30 to 45 pounds. I started off a little lighter, prepping myself before going in because of Sergeant Ashley, the Ranger Bat guy, was like, listen, man, this is what you need to do.
Hell yeah.
Like, okay, roger that. I got it. So, I ended up making it through. I was one of those X-ray guys that came in, turned 28 in basic training, made it all the way through, ended up at 7th Group and did some awesome work in OEF and met some of the most absolutely amazing people. That is, I can't state that enough. And I know, you get the same type of background. Like the guys we served with are just absolutely incredible. And I've occasionally, even to this day, look around and like, how are these my brothers and peers? And like, how am I a part of this regiment? It's fascinating because
it's a humbling
they're such
experience.
People. And we are such amazing people. And I think that's why, we sometimes take things on ourselves and we don't realize when we are facing a change or a transition, like, hey, gather some intel, talk to your brothers and like, be like, hey, I'm getting ready to do this mission, in life now. What can I do? Or what do I need to avoid? Or, it's just things like that. When you come into a transition, take advantage of your resources. There was a reason why we were on a team. A team is stronger. A bundle of sticks is harder to break than one stick. All these things that are out there. Yeah, a lot of them are cliche, but they're true, people.
Yeah.
Like step back, be humble, and ask for help if you need it.
Yeah, the framework still works. The framework that we had to effectively execute a mission, I mean, from planning to actually boots on the ground, there's a lot of frameworks and tools that still work, that are still relevant. Hey, chief, captain, team sergeant, you're being tasked to go to country X. Cool. Let's look at the calendar. All right. Before we get to the country, we have to do X, Y, and Z. And then you do the training, you do the submittal for a budget, you do all that, the pre-deployment sites here, all that stuff is still relevant, but we don't look at it that way. You have to take a step back. And that's like I said, when I started this project, I realized like, oh shit, it's a little scary, but that's good. Scary's good. Being scared is good. Fear is good. You don't want to be terrified, but you need some healthy fear. If you're getting into something that's just like, I fucking love it, there's no fear here, it's not suited for you.
And you're not pushing yourself enough.
Yes, absolutely, man. It just takes that outside perspective of understanding like, okay, I still have tools. Like I still have things I can utilize for this planning. Like when you went through your career, what was that transition leaving the brotherhood? How did that go down?
That was tough. I was blessed. And this is one of the things I like to share with people is you need to seize opportunities in life. Yep. Opportunities come and go, but they come and go for everyone. I don't care who you are. You're going to have opportunities show up on your doorstep or in front of you, wherever you are out and about in life. I just happened to have an opportunity and God blessed me, but I also had to walk through the door. So I had just gotten off active duty. The year before, it was my birthday, and we were in Afghanistan. Literally, I was kicking doors in on my birthday. The guys were awesome. We got back, to the fire base, and we had cigars and some stuff, and it was an awesome birthday. But I was on a mission kicking doors. So the following year, and I'm just getting off active duty. It's like, hey, let's go to the Bahamas. Let's go to Paradise Island, Atlantis Resort, and celebrate getting out, celebrate my birthday, all the different things. So I go down there, and day one, I show up. First thing you do an assessment, right? Yeah. So I go down, I leave my wife on the beach. She's doing the girl thing, laying on the sand and enjoying herself. And I start walking around like, all right, where are we going to go? What am I going to do for my birthday? What's going on down here? And all of a sudden I hear this music playing really loud. I'm like, oh, is that a discotheque or is that, whatever is going on or a club? Let me go check it out. Well, it's Kid Rock in his private cabana, rocking out. So there I am walking along the beach, looking up at his private cabana, seeing him, having music. And I'm like, now this is that opportunity that I talk about. And I talk about it in my book too. You need to seize opportunities. I didn't go there trying to get a job, but I had an opportunity to speak to him. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to be grateful and have gratitude and thank him for all he does to support the troops, the trips overseas that he's done, and just give thanks and appreciation. So I walk up, I introduce myself. I say, thank you for all he does. He's like, oh, are you in the military? I'm like, actually, I just got off active duty. He's like, you just got active duty and you're down in the Bahamas. What are you doing? I'm like, well, actually, it's my birthday today. He's like, it's your birthday and you just got off active duty? let me buy you a drink. And I'm like, okay. So he's thanking me for my service. I'm thanking him for everything that he's done to support the military and being a patriot. And we're just going back and forth. And it's very interesting. When you give and you have gratitude, things kind of just happen.
Yeah.
And we end up going to dinner that night. He's like, hey, you want to come with me for your birthday dinner? I'll take you out. I'm like, okay. So I go to dinner, go to the casino, end up partying like a rock star. And I talk about a little bit in my book, but at the end, I'm thinking, this is it. It's been fantastic. I thank him. I actually got to live and party like a rock star. Everybody says it, but I got to do it. And he shook my hand, looked me dead in the eye and goes, do it again tomorrow? And I'm like, what do you mean do it again tomorrow? He goes, I got that same cabana. I'm going to be hanging out. Come on by. We'll do it again. No kid. Ends up being 3 days long. The last day we were leaving the casino and some guy, drunk in a casino, being mouthy, talking some smack. And, I'm not having that. He's treated me for the weekend and taken care of me. And I know, is this a potential, this guy's trying to get in and get a lawsuit or something, some fame. And I was like, Bob, I got this. Get in the limo. And I grabbed the dude and I'm like, hey, you don't want to do this. It's going to be very bad. I'm not the biggest dude, but I'm not small. At that point, I think I was like 250, and 6'4", because I was still fresh from a team.
Yeah.
I'm down now because I know carrying extra weight is tough on the joints. But
yeah, you're still a Green Beret. You're still like.
So, and, I was in the mood. I was feeling no pain at that point too, because, I've been enjoying myself and having fun. And, I wasn't playing. And he could tell by the look in my eyes, I guess. He was like, he put his hands out. He's like, hey, all right, man, I'm good. And so he leaves. I get in the limo and Bob's like, that's Kid Rock, by the way, if anybody doesn't know Bob. Bob's like, Dan, that was pretty good. You got a job? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I got to go over to Europe for this VH1 thing. And then I'm going to get back and I might have a job for you. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Never going to hear from him again. My birthday's in October. I had to do VH1 thing. Well, December, I get a phone call and it's, hey, you want to work? I got a show in Borgata in January. You want to be there? And okay, I'll do it. So one thing led to another. And that was the transition for me to get into doing the security work and bodyguard stuff for celebrities and Kid Rock. And it was really interesting because I was blessed in the sense that Kid Rock's crew, they call him the Kid Rock family. His band is really tight. They've been together for years and years and years. Tight circle. And I went from the tight circle and community of special forces to a tight circle, working with Kid Rock and his crew. So that was a super blessing.
And I have to imagine, like, there's got to be some overlap of skills that you acquire from being a Green Beret. Like, everybody knows that from doing level 2 stuff to being able to like look at, understand security, like how much of that skill set transferred over into your new profession? And how much did you have to learn on the job?
Well, a lot transition, a lot. And I will say just the actual day-to-day life of being, an operator and living out of a rucksack or whatnot, that you do when you're deployed or, your Contico box.
Yeah.
Well, that's what road life is. I would be in a hotel room and I'd drop my bag off and I'd go do security. I wouldn't be back until, 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes maybe. Shower, get to bed, wake up in 4 hours and pack my stuff and we'd be rolling out to the next city. Sometimes we didn't even stay in the city. We'd, show would end, we'd walk, we'd get in the vehicle or get on a tour bus or get on a plane and we're gone. So it was that op tempo. Yeah. That was, fantastic as far as being able to transition. And I think that's why, he liked me and had me on for so long. And, altogether, I worked about 5 years with him. Recently, I just stopped again to pursue and transition again in my life, doing more of the asset mindset because that's changing people's lives. It's really helping them. A lot of the feedback I've got, a lot of the talks I've done, Corporations are now hitting me up for, speaking events and motivational stuff. So I see the influence for me. And, we spoke earlier about this passions.
Yeah.
I love Bob and Kid Rock crew. They're extended family, great people, great Americans. But I think I can affect more Americans and more people with the asset mindset than I can doing security for Kid Rock.
Absolutely.
And he understands that too. And he's like, Dan, do your thing, chase your passion, go after the goal. He goes, I hope you get rich doing this asset mindset stuff. I hope the book takes off and is, sells millions of copies. $1 a book, 1 million copies. Hey, and then if I get super blessed and it's a few million.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point of the story is transition is important, but you got to go after your passion and then surround yourself with good people. If you're transitioning to a new job or new career, find those good people, or like I call them asset mindset teammates, people that will help you along the way. And we already touched on this a little bit, but that's what you do. And, it's going to be scary. It is. But you know what? We've all jumped out of planes. Well, not all of us, but most of us in our community have done that. And you know what? I don't care who you are. The first time you do that, that's scary.
Yeah.
And maybe even a few other times it might be scary too, because you have a collision or, things happen.
So you're working for Kid Rock. You have your first successful transition period. What was the catalyst for the asset mindset and starting that? What was the first thing that started scratching that itch? How did you start that process?
That's a great question. And it kind of started, I always gave people advice and shared stories. And people are like, man, you could be like a counselor, psychologist, and I'm like, nah, that's not me. That's not me. And then they're like, you've had some amazing life experiences, like, being a Green Beret in special forces, now celebrity bodyguard, working with Kid Rock. Like, you must have some amazing stories, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, being humble, and the gray man, I don't like to spotlight myself. And I still struggle with that a little bit on social media. But getting back to your question, as far as how to it happened, well, people just kind of planted seeds in my head a little bit, and then they grew, and I followed my gut. Like, you should write a book, Dan, with all the stories you have. You should write a book. So in between working for Kid Rock, I also did DOD work. So I did, let's see, how much can I talk about? I mean, ASOT's out there. So, that's a course I worked with and did a lot of things, level 2, level 3. NSW, special activities stuff with MARSOC and whatnot. So I was on the road a lot in between working with Bob, and I would be in my hotel room. So I started writing and killing time. Like, if I'm going to be here, I'm not just going to sit in my hotel room and watch movies.
Yes.
Like, how do I be productive with my time? Time management. And I just started writing. And then it ended up being like a personal development self-help book. Like, I use stories from myself, from family members, from guys that we served with. Ryan Hendrickson's in my book. I talk about him. He's a friend of mine. I got his permission. I got buddies of mine that jumped the fence. We're over in Delta Force. I talk about them. So it's not all about me. It is about our community, the brotherhood, how we accomplish things, how we focus on things. And I call it an elite level mindset. Is the asset mindset. And it ended up being a philosophy that I'm trying to teach and share with other people. And one thing that I think you'll love is, De oppressor libere, to free the oppressed. Well, I think people oppress themselves in their own mind and their own way of thinking. So I took our motto and I've tried to transition it to the civilian world and helping people that oppress themselves, because that's who holds ourselves back. More than anyone else, or that's who can help us the most. That's another thing I try and share and tell people to take ownership. Like, nobody can help you more in life than yourself, and nobody can hurt you more in life than yourself. So you need to own that. And that's why I say own the power. Yeah. And even Tony Robbins talks about energy, like you have to have energy and be at a vibration. Well, that's where I'm kind of talking about when I say power too. Like, understand the power and the gifts you've been given and the energy that's within you, and God's blessed you in so many ways. Like, you can do amazing things. And guys like us, we know, because we've been through a training pipeline that's pushed us, and we're like, holy shit, I never thought I could stay up for this many days and walk this many miles and carry so much weight. You wouldn't expect that, but you learn. And I'm just trying to help other people learn and help them transition so that they can be the better you, or the better selves they want to be in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to go back to that ownership. At least I did, and I know a lot of people have the same mindset when we're faced with mental health struggles or even physical struggles. We want somebody else to fix it. Now, granted, if it's surgery, if it's something that you have to get treatment, absolutely. Like, we can't do that sort of healing. But when it comes to the mental space, when it comes to changing our mindset, when it comes to being more positive, that's all within you. That's all the internal work, that hard, difficult self-reflection piece. And a lot of us really struggle with that because we want to put that ownership on somebody else. And I deal with it a lot with guys. We want somebody else to fix it. We want a magic wand. But the reality is there's a lot of things that we are in control of. Like, life's not always going to be great. We're going to struggle, but you struggled. You have a PhD in enduring. You literally have that. You've been through the worst.
I like that.
Yeah, but when you get on the outside and things are bad and you're struggling, you want somebody else to light the way for you. You want somebody else to pave the way, but really you have everything within you. You have everything within you, and it just takes you to really see that, to stop, reflect, and look inside and say, you know what? I'm not doing the things I need to do. I'm not putting my best foot forward. I'm not doing that work that helped me achieve that awesome friggin' beret and that long tab. I'm not that person. And then granted, when we transition and we ETS and we get out or medically retire, there's that identity that we have to divorce. But you're still always going to be a Green Beret. You're going to always be the high achieving individual. Hold yourself to that high standard. Be willing to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get help for the things that I need help with, but I'm going to take ownership for the problems. And my mindset is something I can change. And that's something that our civilian brothers and sisters are also dealing with. I've seen the same issue. It's like, oh, wait, like, no, we don't have to give up that power. We can take ownership again. We can start working to heal and take care of ourselves. So you're definitely on something that is needed right now in both camps, both the military and civilian side. Now,
while we're on this ownership, I want to drive this home a little more.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is so important. Now, I want to redefine ownership in a sense, because a lot of people are like, yeah, I get it. I own it. It's my life. Yeah. And it's kind of just in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
But I want people to really start looking at themselves with their own ownership, like having a pet. When you have a pet, what do you need to do every day? You need to feed it. You need to water it. It's a dog, you got to let it outside, go to the bathroom. If it's a cat, you got to change the cat litter. I don't care if it's fish in a fish tank. You got to feed them, put some fish flakes up in there. Every day, you need to take care of that pet. That's, what do they call it? Pet ownership. You need to take care of your life like you would take care of a pet. You need to take care of your dreams or your goals like you would take care of a pet. That's ownership. Not just saying it or, oh, I get it. Like, that is real ownership, is every day you show up and you do something about it. You don't have to bust your butt for, 6, 8, 10 hours every day, but at least put an hour into, I'm going to research this, or I'm going to do something. Every day you do the work. And you and I know when you do something every day, that inch becomes a few feet. Those few feet turn into a few miles, and those miles will add up. And next thing you know, you're on the other side of the country or somewhere different. That's what you need to do. And I think purpose is one of the things that you need to take ownership of. Because when we get out and we're transitioning, it's like, all right, what do I do? I've had commanders tell me, hey, this is where you need to go. I got it. Roger that. I got my mission. I can do the work. I can figure things out. Well, guess what? You're your own commander now. Like, you need to give yourself purpose. You need to be like, what mission do I want to do in life? You now have this podcast and reaching out and helping people and making change in the world. I'm doing that with the asset mindset. That became my purpose, and it's changed me. It's changed people. Like, you can do it. Figure out what it is. Look at Travis Wilson is another awesome example. This guy's incredible. He's got Alpha Elite, performance nutrition. He does Alpha Elite Outdoors, which is a nonprofit helping veterans. He's now working with the Green Beret Foundation. Like, he's given himself mission.
Yeah.
You need to have that mission. You need to have that purpose. If you don't have one right now and you're transitioning, you need to take some time to yourself, pray about it, go for a walk in the woods, think about it, talk to some close family members. But you need to get your mission and your purpose outlined, and then do what we do, backwards plan. Figure out, how do you get to where that mission or that goal is? And we can backwards plan. We can pace plan. We'll figure it out. We're Green Berets, we'll embrace the suck. Things are going to go wrong, but we'll keep pushing forward. If you have that end state and that purpose and goal, you can do it. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. No, I cannot emphasize how important your mission and the clarity that you get when you write it out. A lot of time people think that, hey, I'm just going to go off and I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the next great Twitch gamer. I'm going to be the next great YouTube creator. I'm going to be the next great author. Whatever it is that you're doing, what is your mission? What is the purpose? What is the end state? You have to put these things down, and you have to write them, and you write them and you live it, and you put it in front of you and you look at it every single day. If you don't, who are you working for?
Yeah.
You're doing something for somebody else. You're accomplishing somebody else's mission statement, somebody else's purpose, somebody else's passion. Even if you have an inkling, an idea, a concept, write it down, materialize it, make it real, and look at it. There's a power in that. It's the same reason why when you do a business plan, it's stated in there. Like, you have to do this. And people are like, oh, that's just woo. No, it's not. Like, this is, if you're going to start an LLC, if you're going to start a business, you're going to have to do it. So the first part of going out and venturing into your own space and being dedicated to something, a greater endeavor, is write out that mission statement. What's that purpose? You don't just let life happen to you, which is something that I've seen that affects veterans and civilians alike. Don't let life happen to you as a bystander. Like, you're a person of purpose and drive. Be aggressive. Go into that endeavor. Go into that next phase of your life charged and empowered. And if you're not right now, if you're listening to this and you're, whether you're starting the journey or identifying that, like, hey, maybe I got too comfortable. Maybe I just took the easy job. It's not too late. It's never too late. You're still breathing. You're still walking. You're still in the fight. Be energized. Be excited. Like, I'll ask you, Ren, how excited are you to wake up every single day? Like,
it's a blessing. I'm super blessed. Like, I have kids, I'm older now. I'm 48, but I still have a 5-year-old. I restarted at 43, so my oldest is going to be 17 and to a 5-year-old. So it's
nice
12-year span with my 3 kids. But, man, I tell you what, going out in this entrepreneur stuff and giving myself my own mission with the asset mindset's giving me more time with my family.
Yeah.
I can now plan and schedule things on my schedule, on my terms. Now, it is absolutely scary when you don't know when the next paycheck's coming in. Well, you got to plan, you got to budget, you got to have a reserve. Maybe your side hustle or your mission is a side hustle for a little bit.
Yes.
And you start with that until that side hustle starts making some money or gains traction. And then, all right, I'm going into this full time. And that's exactly what I did. I was still doing security work, up until last month.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, I've been successful enough that I have some reserves. I can ride this out, and I'm taking the leap, and I'm going full-time entrepreneur, the asset mindset. I'm going to speak. I'm going to write another book. I'm going to do a course. I have all these things I'm going to do. And, I'm putting it out here now. And the more you speak about it, the more you put it out there, the more it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And those are the things you have to start living, those goals, living those dreams. You can't sit on the couch and be like, man, it would be nice, or, oh, I wish. And that's a problem that we can all fall into. I mean, the struggle is real for everybody. So anybody listening, I don't care who you are, how bad you were, what your career was, how amazing your past, whatever you did was, like, you're a human being. You're going to struggle. It's okay. We all struggle, but figure it out and push and drive on. And if you're an operator, soft guy, team guy, like embrace the suck. You've done it before and move forward, drive on. And it's really hard, I think, for some guys to do it because they feel like they're alone now and they don't have the team support. And they feel like their purpose, especially if you're someone who retired. I mean, I've had a few buddies of mine that were mentors. And, when you're in a brotherhood, as you know, you stay in touch. So I have guys that have done, 27 years and retired. And they're like, oh, what am I going to do now? My meaning in life was always to be a soft guy and be a Green Beret. Like that was my whole purpose. And so they feel like lost. Like everything I was and my identity is now gone. Well, guess what? You need to figure out a new identity. You'll always be that Green Beret. You'll always be that soft guy. But what do you want to be next? You can do so many different things. You can still do that. There's guys that are training and running and doing things that they're still doing soft type stuff. If you have another dream or goal that you want to go to, do it. Make it happen. There's guys that are t-shirt companies. You're wearing, a t-shirt right now from one of our brethren. He started that. There's a whole group of Green Berets, and 2 out of the 3 there I served with. I was blessed to be, at B27 with them. But anyway, like you can do it. Yeah. Get off the pity party, get off the couch or whatever it is, and get your mission statement, get your purpose, and go after it and take ownership. Like we keep saying, you need to own it and own your power, own your strength. Yeah.
We have a rich brotherhood and lineage of success within SOF of guys that have gone out and started phenomenal companies from nothing more than a chance encounter, a sit down, a spark, an idea that just materialized from just speaking things into existence. Sit down and do a pre-deployment or pre-retirement assessment, meaning what do I feel passionate about? What gets me curious? And start pulling that thread. For me, it was the mental health stuff. I found incredible healing and a peace with pulling the string and finding mindfulness and meditation. I'm like, okay, cool. Is there a certification I can do in this? Yeah, I can become a teacher in this. So while I'm still I'm practicing something that feeds back into me. It feeds back and nourishes and gives me answers to the things I'm struggling with. So I get those certifications. I get certified. Now I start teaching it. Like you start doing the research before you get out. And even if you waited too long, hey, that's where you're at in this deployment. That's where you're at in this mission set. Start asking the questions. You're going to find so much wonderful and just amazing stuff about yourself when you just start asking the questions. What do I really like? Who am I? That's something I didn't realize until I went through this whole journey and went through the worst of it. But the best part of it is when you start asking those questions about you. What makes me happy? What really gets me out of bed? If you're like me, advocating and helping others, being of service to people, that is a huge thing. Start asking the hard questions. And like, I would imagine that some of the same things that went into play when you started writing your book, like started pulling together your curriculum, putting together the asset mindset of like, okay, what do I really enjoy? What things do I like to share with people to make them better? Because honestly, I believe that within every Green Beret, there's a powerful healer. There's a person that wants to help others. There's a person that's of service because we all wanted to be somebody that went after and helped those in need. So like be able to lean into that at the very beginning. Maybe it changes, but lean into the known factors. We all went through the same assessment, guys. We all went through the same selection.
You had the qualities or you wouldn't have made it.
It's the same psych evals. Like, and I know we like to think like, oh, we're just crazy individuals, and we are to a certain degree. But know thyself, know who you are, and within all of us is somebody that wants to be of service. So start there. Start with that journey and pull the thread. Like, I can't stress that enough. Guys are so focused on losing the Green Beret and losing that operator, and then they're not realizing what they're gaining. Like there's a new person. When you were finally in that space of like, okay, I can now walk away from being a bodyguard. I can start leaning into this. How did you stay grounded? How did you navigate that fear a little easier?
just suck it up. Honestly, that one. And then and we talked about earlier, like your dreams should scare you a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you're not dreaming big enough. If your dream is just like, oh, I'm just going to pay the bills and like have a cookout and grill on the weekend. Not to knock any of that stuff, but wouldn't you want a little more out of life? I mean, if you were a Green Beret, like, hello, you went to an elite level. Like you did things most people will never, ever do, never seen, can't comprehend. Like you're now just I'm going to work Monday through Friday and then grill. Yeah. Hey, that's your dream. That's your dream. But like for me, I still want to experience. I want to do things that aren't normal. I don't want to be normal. You know, I don't want to be average. None of us wanted to be average or we wouldn't have gone SF, you know, and I just think you have no excuse nowadays, especially with the support network and the brotherhood we have. And hello, everybody's got a cell phone. You need to know something. There's YouTube. Look it up. You have no excuse. Oh, you talked about yourself. I want to help people. I want to learn about psychology. Well, you can take classes, get certifications, get out there and do the research. You have no excuse. And I'm going to share some of my own humbling, but also embarrassing, but proud moments. So I was a level 3 and I can't type. And for anybody that knows in our community, like you got a lot of report writing. So we'd be downrange and like there'd be guys coming into the ops center or whatever. And it would be 2:30, 3 in the morning. And here's Dan typing away. I'd always get the report done, you know, and make it happen. I did quality reports. I was just slow, you know, and they'd make fun of me. I can't type. And now here I am. I wrote a book. I can't type. Still can't type. I use 2 fingers on each side. I mean, I'm faster now because I've had a lot of practice not knowing how to type. But, you know, and guess what? This book is signed with Simon & Schuster. You know, this is Stephen King's publisher. I never imagined that. I've never written a book before. But put yourself out there and be genuine. And if you do something that's real and genuine and the truth, you know, Kid Rock and I talk all the time about music and then like even my book where the truth will resonate with people. If you are not fake and you are real, whatever you're doing that's true to you is going to be true to others. And that will resonate. That's the butterfly effect, ripples in a pond when you throw a rock. Like just start doing it. Be true to yourself and put it out there. And yeah, you may get some haters. That's life. And people always hate on someone else that's doing something that they're afraid to do because they want to pull them down. And I talk about that in my book too, crab mentality. You're in psychology. You know, the crab heads and crab mentality. You have one crab in a bucket, it's going to crawl its way out. You put 2 in there, the other ones, every time one gets ahead, they pull each other down. And we're people and not crabs, but a lot of people have crab head mentality. Don't let them pull you back. You do you and keep focused on that goal and take ownership like we've been talking about. But you can do it. I mean, I'm a knucklehead. You know, I bang nails. You know, I went to college for a while, but I was no PhD or whatnot. And, you know, then I went infantry and a Green Beret, and now I'm a published author. Never would have imagined it. Never would have guessed it. But you know what? I listened to my gut. I saw what was being put in front of me. And I just was like, okay, this is my mission, God. And this is what is passionate within me. This is what's coming out. I'm doing it. And here I am now doing podcasts with amazing Americans and people like you. It's incredible. And life will do that. If you're being true to yourself, things will open up that you never thought were possible. I mean, we can look at so many things out there. There's evidence all over the place. I mean, who thought Black Rifle Coffee Company would be what it is now and traded on the New York Stock Exchange? You know what I mean? Like those guys are amazing and awesome. And they were just being themselves, you know, and it's so amazing when you just do the work, be real, take ownership and show up every day. It adds up. You can do it. We know that. Green Berets, that's what we've done. That's how we were successful so many different times on so many missions because we just kept pushing forward. If you do that, you can transition to anything and be anything you want. The tough part is figuring out what you want to be next when you do transition.
And understand that success doesn't happen overnight. For for everybody. There's very few. I mean, there's very few industries where you have that one spark and then it's just like catches fire. OnlyFans. I mean, if that's what you want to do, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the way you can do it. But understand that you've got to take that same mentality that made you a successful Green Beret, Ranger, SEAL, 95 Yankee, whatever it was in the military that you did that made you successful. And you know, surprise, surprise, it was work ethic, hard work, dedication, coming in before everybody else, sitting down and getting to work. Look, that's a reality of it. Black Rifle Coffee, Evan Hafer and his crew, those guys, they didn't make it overnight. It started with funny videos. It started with small batch coffees. It started with doing the work and fucking grinding day in, day out. And you have to understand that be committed to the excellence you achieve every single day. Don't look at the long term is beautiful. The end goal is beautiful, man. Like we all went through selection and we were just waiting for that moment. But the key to success in selection was saying, hey, 5 more minutes and it's a switch out. 5 more minutes and we switch out. Whew, all right. It's your turn to carry. All right, awesome. 10 more minutes. I got 5 more minutes in me. Reset the clock. Every single fucking day when you're doing that thing that you're passionate about and excited about and you're getting 1 more page done. Oh, this book's going to be amazing. I get it. You want to look at the best-selling publishers. You want to look at that best-selling list and see yourself on there, and you'll get there. You'll fucking get there if you're committed to the work that it takes every single fucking day. And that's the proof of it. Look at everybody that's done it. You can malign and be angry and be upset that you're not fucking there. And then what happens? You'll quit. But look at all the people that didn't quit and made it after working for years and years in their craft and honing their skills. You want to be with that group. You want to be at the end goal with those people. Don't get upset because you didn't make it within a week of trying to do something new. It's like anything else, man. It's just like put yourself back in selection. It's just another ruck. It's another fucking long range movement.
No, absolutely. And it's one of those things like the battle is never won just on the battlefield. What'd you do in training before? You know, what'd you do at PMT? What'd you do? You know, how many times did you kick a door in and do CQB? You know, you don't just one day do it, or we can even go to sports analogies. Yeah. You know, you don't win the Super Bowl just on the day of the Super Bowl. How many hours of practice did those guys put in? How many games did they play prior to getting to the Super Bowl? Like, you don't just win the Super Bowl and have success, you know, in one day. It is work. It is showing up. It is time. And let time do the heavy lifting. You know, that will add up and it will build that load of success for you so that you can achieve what you want. It's incredible, you know. And one of the things, too, we're talking about some of the stuff as far as selection and going through, you know, you have just a little extra that you need to do. Just do a little extra. Well, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just a little extra in the word. I love using that because it is so true. Yeah. I mean, people that just work, you know, 9 to 5, come home, they're done, they sit on the couch, watch TV. You know what? They're going to stay ordinary. If you do a little extra, if you get up an hour early, or heck, even when you get home, give yourself an hour working towards your goal and dream. Well, guess what? That's 7 hours that week that you would move towards accomplishing something.
Yeah.
You know, if you did that every day. And that's just a little extra, just an extra hour a day in effort. And that's going to add up over a month and then add up and add up. And you know what? You start building momentum. You're enjoying what you're doing. You're going to do more than an hour. You know, you're going to do 3-4 hours in a day. And it's going to add up and you're going to build momentum and it's going to keep getting better. So just show up. One of my buddies, Brian, that was on my team, ironic story. We were in, 30th AG in processing together as civilians. We ended up being on the same damn team.
No shit.
I was in 7th grade. We walked through the team room door. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what are you doing here? But he always said that, like, you got to show up because he was one of those guys, just gym stud, PT animal. He just retired too. Great American, great man, great teammate, great friend. And he shows up. And that was his simple thing that he'd love to share with everybody. Yeah. And it's so true. Show up every day. Take ownership, do the work, have a plan. And if you don't have one, work on getting one.
Yeah.
You know, take that time to yourself, meditate, pray, go out in nature, you know, just give yourself some time and see, you know, when did I wake up and was actually excited to get out of bed? Was I going to go fishing? Was I going to go, you know, on a trip, or I was doing this with my family, or whatever it is? Find that excitement. You know, we all had a trip, or heck, when we were a kid and it was Christmas morning and you woke up, did you have a hard time getting out of bed? No, you were like, yes, you know, or it's your birthday when you're a little young. Find that passion. You're still a person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to say I wake up every day going, yeah. I mean, I'm grateful I'm alive, but you know, you got to do that. You find the passion, show up, and great things will happen. It's a formula.
Yeah.
You know, and we all know it works because that's how we got through selection. That's how we became Green Berets and got on a team. And why were we successful with the teams that we were with? Because what did guys do? We did the work, and we played on each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we knew what to do. You know, you work on the weaknesses, you lean on the strengths, and you do that now, whatever it is you're transitioning to, you'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's understanding too that, you know, you're going to have bad days. You're going to have days that suck. And that's normal. It's okay to have that, but just understand that you don't have to sit there and wallow in it. Get up, dust yourself off, and get back at it. Like, that's the reality of it. Like, you can't just quit when things suck. Like, think of the best teammates you ever had on a team or in a platoon or in your company. Always the ones that were able to crack a joke and get you back in the game. Get you right back in that. There's nothing different when you're on your own. Find that team on the outside. Find that individual that when you don't have it in you, they can bring it out. They can bring that ability to say, you know what? Okay, reset. Let's get back in it. And on that note, nowadays, who's your team? Do you rely on your wife a lot more, or do you still have that core group of individuals that you reflect back on and reach out to? And it's always been able to like kind of take a knee with somebody and be like, hey, I need an estimate to check. Like, who shows up in your life in that way?
Well, for me, I mean, my wife definitely does. And I get some good friends that do the same thing, that keep it real. I also try and do an AAR mentally, you know, every day.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things every night before I go to bed, I try and do that, do an AAR. Like, all right, what did I accomplish today? You know, what moved me and my goal? What do I need to improve on? What do I need to work on? My son makes fun of me all the time because I'm like, oh, I didn't do enough. You know, and this is yesterday. And he's like, didn't do enough. You did this, this, and this. You were prepping for, a speaking gig for this corporate event. And like, yeah, but, you know, I only did a 45-minute workout and I did that. And he's like, Dad, stop. You know? But you need to do that yourself. And if you can't do it yourself, find the people around you. And I talk about that, you know, build your teammates and your tribe.
Yes.
You know, and then everything that makes the magic happen, you've done or you've learned. And almost everybody's learned it, especially team guys. You know, that's why I also talk about the asset mindset. Like every special forces team guy has the asset mindset. But you do not have to be special forces to have the asset mindset. You know, you can be somebody else and apply that. And that's what I was trying to teach in my book. But there's been guys like one guy, I mean, Kevin, he's awesome guy. We still maintain communication, you know, through social media or whatnot. But he lost 40 pounds and started, you know, doing some stuff. It's Veterans Trash Talk. I don't know if you're aware who they are or whatnot. But yeah, Kevin's like, your book changed my life, because he was like, oh, I'm older now. And, you know, I was a vet. I'm like, he's like, I read your book and I was like, I'm the youngest I'm going to be for the rest of my life. Holy crap. And I can still accomplish and do that. And he turned it around. Yeah. And, you know, he's like, I never imagined I'd be doing, you know, YouTube stuff and podcasts or talking or doing, you know, and getting back to the gym. And I mean, there's pictures of him. He's flexing. He's like, you know, like it's fantastic. And you can do it. And the formula is there, you know, and if you forgot about it, please pick up my book and it'll help you. I promise. If you apply these things, that's why I say it's a special forces perspective for achieving success. Like you will do it if you take these perspectives. And we know it as team guys. Like, you know what works.
Yeah.
Quit being, I don't know, sad or pity party or whatever you got going on. Mm-hmm. If you need help, get help. Talk to people.
Yep.
Like Denny's saying, talk to someone else. Lean on a brother. Lean on your wife. Lean on whoever. But get that little bit of help. And then, lace up your boots and get to work. Show up. You can transition into anything. You really can. That's what Green Berets do. Adapt, improvise, and overcome. Yep. Take that, apply it to your next chapter of your life.
So That's true. Simple. Absolutely. The thing that the asset mindset to me, like the great thing about it is what you just shared. It's mentorship in a medium where you traditionally don't think like, okay, this isn't like possible through a book, but really and truly it is. Like you're putting something positive out there that's not tearing somebody down and trying to build them back up in the image of something else. And mentorship to us is something that's deeply connected to being a Green Beret. You're constantly mentoring your junior, you're constantly mentoring the new guy on the team. Once we get on the outside, we realize how much that's needed in the civilian world. And there are grifters and people taking advantage of that. But with the asset mindset, it allows somebody to read something and connect with you. Even if they never meet you, they connect with that Green Beret that's desperately trying to help a larger, broader community. And it's needed. And people can pick it up and read it and actually make positive changes in their lives without having to pay for 20,000 exclusive soft membership clubs that are just out there taking advantage of people. And that's something that we really need. I think that your book fills a gap that's not that's not being filled by anything else right now. It's giving the beautiful insights to how we can just become better by applying some of the things that made us who we are on the outside now. And it helps Green Berets too once they transition, because we tend to forget how great we were on a team. And it's like, oh, woe is me. Now I'm on the outside. Pick up the asset mindset. Understand that you're still great. The greatness is still there. You just have to look inward. You have to reflect and be willing to look and say, oh shit, I still got it. I still have all these resources.
Yeah. and the great thing about that, I think my book is totally different from most, SF guys or operators of the field. Like I had Dr. Alice Atalanta. She's a freelance editor and whatnot. She works for the Green Beret Foundation. She does a lot of different things. I hit her up on LinkedIn and I'm like, hey, this is who I am, what I'm doing. Can I send you my manuscript? Because before I try and publish it, I want to have a tight shot group. And I'm not a writer. So I need someone with real professional eyes to go through this. And she got my manuscript. And then like a day later, she goes, this is nothing like I expected. I thought it was going to be like everybody else's, story downrange. This is what I did. She goes, this is different. This is something special. And I think that's why I ended up getting picked up, because I was originally self-published. Simon & Schuster sought me out. I didn't pitch myself to them. They saw what was going on and they were like, hey, let's contact this Daniel Fielding and let's see, because it's magical. I did another podcast, and this guy, this is I Dare You podcast, Darren Johnson. He's like, I always do my research before someone comes on. And when I have an author on, I read their reviews. Your reviews, people are saying they're going to read your book again. He goes, a lot of people buy a book, read it, and throw it on the shelf. Like, you got something here. Yep. Like, this is a tool for people to use throughout their life. And I'm finding that's a lot of the messages I'm getting from people is like, hey, when I had this problem, or, my grandmother died. Yep. And then I read the chapter again where you lost your dad and got the phone call, and that really helped me through it. I had someone else. This was probably the most powerful story that I shared with my wife. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's true. And that's so amazing, because we have a teenager. So there was this teenage girl. She was 18 years old, plus or minus. Her dad bought my book, was curious, was reading it. His daughter dealt with anxiety and depression for years, going to therapy, doing things as much as they could to help her. Nothing was really working. She got a hold of my book. He said in 1 week, my book did more for her than all the therapy sessions that they paid for the last few years. He goes, I bought that book for everybody and gave it out this past Christmas. He gave like, I don't know, like 20 copies away to like his nieces and nephews and anybody he thought that could use some mental direction and whatnot. And that was, to me, so powerful that this girl that was dealing with so much struggle and strife in her own head, in her own mind, was able to rewire herself because of my book, embrace the suck, and realize how powerful she is and that she can overcome obstacles. And I guess last time I talked to this gentleman, it's been a while now because we don't talk regularly. It's not like a super good friend of mine or anything. He was like, my daughter is now in college and going to be a registered nurse. She's like 1 year away from completing. And he goes, we were always worried, like, what is she going to be able to do with her life? Because the way she was. And those are the type of things that the passion and make, like, we're guys of service. That's why we joined the military. Yep. And that's why I joined, after 9/11, I wanted to serve, make the world a better place, protect people. And now I'm able to do that again through my book and this philosophy and speaking to people. It's incredibly powerful. And, if you're out there and you're trying to figure out what it is you need to do, take some of your passion and how you wanted to be serving to other people. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you want to, my buddy Andy Lang from Fifth Group, he's got Leatherwood Distillery. He likes people to have a good time and relax and have some, good cocktails, like that whiskey and bourbon that he has is fantastic. And that's what he likes brewing it. He did it downrange. Now he's doing it, like
allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah. Sorry. He doesn't have the distill that he used on display anywhere.
It's not real.
Yeah, it was fake. It's like fake guns, But I digress. But the point is, you can change your life. And if it's not the asset mindset, find another tool.
Yeah.
It's not all about me. I'm just trying to make the world a better place. I think this is a great tool for people in a book and motivational. I mean, it motivates me when I had to rewrite it for Simon & Schuster. Well, not rewrite, but go through. We wanted to do, because their editors wanted to, look at it and make it theirs because I sold the rights to them. But I had to approve everything. But it's amazing, and you can do it. And it is scary. Don't worry about it, man. You've been scared before. What'd you do? You face it.
Yeah.
And fear is an opportunity to display courage and bravery. And who doesn't want to be courageous in life? Who doesn't want to be looked at and be like, wow, that guy's brave. He took that obstacle head on, or woman for that matter. If there's any females, their spouses that are, listening to this, like, you can do it. Be brave, face those fears. I know it's cliche, but that's how you get ahead in life.
Yeah.
You do that little extra and you become extraordinary.
Absolutely. We have been trained and we have constantly gone into the unknown. Every single one of us at some point found themselves, whether it was training or in combat, in that number one man position. And what do you have to do? You have to go in the fucking unknown. Lean into that. Lean into your training. Lean into all the experiences you had and be courageous and bold enough to look inward, find what you're really passionate about, and fucking chase it down. And if you need any other reminder that you're not like everybody else, just look at that friggin' wall with all your accolades, or look at your I Love Me book with all the things you've earned in your career. Look at your plaques. Look at that photo of you and your team downrange, and look at all those faces and how wonderful it was being on those missions, and reflect back and know that just like they had your back downrange, they have your back going forward. Reach out to the communities. And if you need anything, reach out on LinkedIn. Who would have thought that you could go on that platform and just reach out to people and say, hey, I'm a human being and I would like to talk to you about human being things and how you achieve success. 99.9 of the times they'll reach back out and say, yeah, no problem. And you'll be able to sit down with somebody and glean from their experiences how to be successful too. So just be willing to be scared, but take that chance. Daniel, thank you for being here, man. Thank you for being a great representative of what it means to be able to live and succeed again after being a Green Beret. Like, it is amazing to be able to see our brotherhood continue to grow with amazing individuals that aren't scared to achieve more in life. And that's what we need, to be able to lean on guys like yourself and be able to have you come on shows and talk about what worked and what didn't. So thank you, man.
Oh, thank you, Danny. It's great to be here. I love what you're doing. And just for everybody out there, we don't know each other. I mean, we both served in the same regiment. We're both Green Berets, but he did exactly what he said. Like, reach out on LinkedIn. He reached out and was like, hey, Daniel, I'd like to da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, hey, yeah, sure. Let's make it happen. Let's figure it out. And that's what you do. And other people that are out there making things happen in life, they love to work with other people. Think about when you were mentoring your junior.
Yeah.
Did you like teaching him? Did you like seeing him be successful and do whatever it is, the task that you trained him in? It's totally possible. And Denny, thank you for all the work you're doing. Thank you for helping get the asset mindset out there. If there's anything I can do to be an asset mindset teammate for you in the future, reach out again. Keep it up, brother, and God bless.
Absolutely, man. And one more thing, let's plug the book. It's available on Amazon. What's your website? Where can people go to get the book, download it, and support you?
theassetmindset.com, and then my books page. I'll show the cover again here. That's what it looks like. If you just type me in the computer, Daniel Fielding, it'll come up. If you type the asset mindset, it'll come up. If you're a Barnes & Noble person, you can get it on Barnes & Noble. You get it Books A Million. It's out there everywhere around the world. It's being sold in the UK, Australia. I've sold copies even in Japan. It's crazy.
Nice.
So it's out there, people. And please, if you do read it, reviews are super helpful for algorithms. I was doing well on reviews as far as numbers, but then I sold and re-released it this past September. So my reviews went down. So now I'm back under 100. So please, if you like it, give me a review. I would greatly appreciate that. It would be very helpful. And If you need anything from me, reach out, assetmindset.com, or find me on Instagram.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you so much. And for all you out there listening, go get the book. If you need to know where to go, just look at the episode description, or on YouTube, look at the episode description. It'll be right there. And go do the thing. Support our Green Berets and support the show. Like, share, and review, because that's what I live for. I live for your comments and your snarky remarks. I love those. Or send me an email at sechaltpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Daniel. And I hope to see you again on here, brother. And to everybody else out there, have a great day. Take care of yourself. And we'll see you all next time.